Hello everyone, Fanta here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today is another episode of Tales from Retail. I know, it's shocking. It's Tuesday, and another episode of the same series is going up. Yes. Today we're talking about GameStop once again for the millionth time, and a topic that I've actually covered before about a year and a half ago, back before most of you watched this channel, before Tales from Retail became a weekly mainstay video on this channel, before a lot of stuff. So, really interesting. I actually looked back at that video. I didn't want to repeat myself too much. I will be touching on some things because I'm sure not all of you have seen that video. I know it's gotten quite a few more views than it originally did. I remember I first put that video out. I'm talking about midnight launches, by the way. I don't know if I said that. So when I first put up that video, it had, 2,000, 3,000 views, and that was actually really good back then. That was like, wow, I can't believe I got a couple thousand views in this channel. That's crazy. I'm going to keep doing these videos occasionally. That's great. And then it randomly blew up, and now it's got like 16,000. And I think that happened about the same time that all of the Tales from Retail videos were starting to blow up, and the channel just got this wave of popularity. I don't know why. I still don't know why. YouTube is the most random thing in the world, and now that I had that huge wave of success, just like before, you're seeing the tide go out and the success is going away. So that's unfortunate, but c'est la vie, whatever. So I'm touching on the same topics, but I do want to discuss the worst midnight launches that I've ever had. And I know I talk about how Skyrim was stressful and how a lot of the effects that we did for Halo Reach or Halo 4, I think it was Reach. I don't quite remember which Halo it was. I still don't, even to this day. I know I made it a year and a half ago, but I still don't know which Halo it was. But they're like fog machines. I was coughing. The codes weren't working. There were lots of complications with that launch. And those were really the worst launches, were when we actually did have complications happen. Like I said, Skyrim, there was one computer that was working the entire time. So I was the only one ringing up the entire line of people. And I also want to talk about today, because I don't have a whole lot to talk about with worst midnight launches, because you've heard most of the worst, really. Most of the worst midnight launches were when we thought it was going to be big. We ordered a bunch of stuff. Like, we got a food truck for one of these launches, and we really didn't have that many people. So the management kind of looked at us and went, what were you thinking? And we had a lot of pre-orders. We had a lot of people that were very interested in the game, and we thought we had a lot of people interested in coming to the midnight launch. And then when the day came, not that many people showed up. And I think that was, I don't know if that was the Halo anniversary game that also was launching with something else, or an Assassin's Creed game, but that was bad. That was really bad, because we definitely felt a big backlash come back from the district manager because of how that went. But you can't really control who comes in for the midnight launch, and we never got a food truck again because of that. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but at least for the GameStop's near me, they don't really do anything for midnight launches anymore. There's nothing special about a midnight launch. There's no music. There's no fog machines. There's no excitement. There's no tournaments. There's no nothing. Usually there's not even a raffle anymore. There used to be these things that would make you hyped to go to a midnight launch, besides the fact that you're getting the game a little bit early. And I know that they're not midnight launches anymore. They're called early releases, because well, I guess if you're in the East Coast, it's still midnight launch. But if you're over here in the West Coast, you get it 2 to 3 hours early, depending on daylight savings time, because for some reason, all the other states, except for a few, including mine, we don't participate in it. But we get it early, and that's awesome. I think that's better than midnight launch, because you get to play it more. You have more of a chance to install the game these days, because I mean, Red Dead Redemption, I got to play 15 minutes. I was up till like 2 a.m. I got to play 15 minutes of Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the 2-hour install and all of the other headaches that came along with my PlayStation not working correctly. Of course, the night that I bring the game home, and try to play it. So I'm glad that they are making these launches earlier. I'm glad that you have more of a chance to play it. But I do really miss the event behind it, I really miss that. And I think a lot of the worst, quote-unquote, midnight launches that I had were when we started dialing it back, when we stopped doing these fun things, when it became a lot more clinical, a lot more corporate, a lot more, buy the numbers, get the numbers. So it went from this thing that I couldn't wait to participate in. I used to love working midnight launches. And I know a lot of people didn't because of how late it was, but I didn't mind it because, like I said, it was an event. It was something new. It was something exciting. And I loved setting up for it. I loved the energy that was in the air. And you just don't get that anymore. I've been to a couple midnight launches recently, including Red Dead, which really, it's insane seeing how the lines just aren't as long as they used to be. These midnight launches or early releases or whatever you want to call them used to have these crazy long lines that went down the block and would wrap around buildings because people were so hyped. And I'm surprised that Red Dead didn't have that kind of reception. I know Skyrim did. Skyrim was insane. Like, it went past our entire strip of stores and into this dirt area. It was amazing how many people were just hyped for this game coming out. But now I think it's a mix of digital and GameStop just not doing well. And the fact that most stores don't, it's only GameStop that does midnight releases or early releases that I know of, besides console launches, like when Best Buy did the midnight launch or early release. I think it was a midnight launch for the Switch. I think we actually had to wait till midnight. You didn't get the early thing like GameStop for games. So when they did that early release or midnight launch, it wasn't a special, but it was kind of special in the fact that, wow, Best Buy is actually doing this for once. The thing is Best Buy used to have better midnight launches than GameStop, which is really funny. I don't know, I think I've talked about this before, but I remember I was waiting in line with I used to attend these things just because they were fun. Just because, like I said, the energy was there. Even if I wasn't picking up the game or I had already gotten the game somewhere else or something like that, it was fun to attend with other friends that were also hyped for the game because it's just this whole group of people that are really excited. Tournaments. Sometimes we'd order pizza. It was awesome. And I remember we left the GameStop line for one of these launches and we went over to Best Buy and they had TVs, several TVs set up in a mini tournament for, I think it was Call of Duty Black Ops. And it was so cool and they were popping popcorn. And then for the launch of the Xbox One, I believe they were screening Jurassic Park or something. It had nothing to do with games, but who cares, They had something going on. They were making it an event. And again, they were popping popcorn. They'd set up seats so it was a theater experience. And now, like I said, with the Red Dead Redemption 2 launch, we weren't even in line because it was such a lame feeling. There was no, I was excited to get the game, but the excitement didn't feel like it was there coming from the people waiting. There wasn't any event. There was no music. There was no food. There was no raffle. There was no tournament. There was no nothing. And I know it's very difficult to do a tournament. In fact, it might be impossible to do a tournament with Red Dead Redemption. But if they really wanted to be creative, they could have brought in a PS2 and had Red Dead Revolver, and there's local multiplayer in that game. So they could have done something with that. And they used to do stuff like that. You're saying, well, Fanta, that's a lot of extra effort bringing in systems and TVs and all that kind of stuff. But that's something that GameStop and Best Buy used to do. And I know a lot of people love digital games, but the hype, the event was so much more fun back when people used to attend midnight launches. Back when people weren't constantly, I think that's another thing, people consistently disappointed with the games that are coming out. I remember the Call of Duty, I'm trying to remember which Call of Duty launch it was. World War II. I have only attended a couple midnight launches in the past couple of years. It was the World War II and Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't remember. Oh, I was attending the midnight launch for World War II because that was back when I reviewed games. So I wanted the game as soon as possible so I could start playing right away. And man, that line was not that long, which was surprising because at the time, Call of Duty World War II was really hyped up. Call of Duty used to be insane. Call of Duty, I may not have been excited for the game all the time, but I was always excited for the midnight event when I worked for GameStop. But that might have been just during the Call of Duty heyday, because like I said in the old video, we rented trailers. So we'd have a bunch of TVs, bunch of consoles, and they could play the older game, like the previous entry in the Black Ops series or whatever the Call of Duty was launching, and they could have a tournament, and they could play something, you know? You could play Call of Duty while you're waiting for Call of Duty. It was just a different time, and I miss it a lot. I really do. And this is a little bit different than I do in most of these videos. Usually I'm like, oh, well, this sucks about GameStop. And this is why I hated working at GameStop. But this was something I really enjoyed when I worked at GameStop. But I did watch really the death of the exciting midnight launch / early release. It might be the early release part that killed it. I don't know. I feel like you could still do it even with the early release, but they're just not choosing to do it anymore. GameStop is not in a great financial position. Best Buy got rid of the Gamers Club Unlocked. Amazon has cut back on so many different gaming incentive programs. They got rid of that 20% off thing, and now they've just put the $10 the coupon or the gift card or whatever, the gift credit for Amazon instead of that 20% off. And it's sad to see all of these things about gaming and my favorite hobby, really, and my favorite thing to kill time, just kind of getting more and more lame, less and less exciting because of constant games coming out, disappointing, being filled with industry bullshit, being lied to, like what happened with No Man's Sky and Destiny and a bunch of other games, and just this constant being shat on by developers and having, I don't know, it's just a different environment than it used to be, I feel like. And I know that's just kind of a thing. When you look back, you wish things are now how the way they were. And most of the time, it's just nostalgia goggles and it's bullshit, and you should really like the way things are now. But for a lot of things in the gaming industry side of things, because gaming is still great, there's still a lot of great games out there, but when it comes to the industry side, including stores, it's just gotten a lot worse. And it's sad to see that happening. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the excitement that we used to have. I don't know if we'll ever have anybody, maybe some of you have never experienced that before, and that's unfortunate because you might never again. If you are still experiencing that at your local store, I'm very jealous. I'm happy that you still get to feel that way. You still get to have that excitement. You still get to have fun with people that are fellow fans of the same game you are. And that was what was so exciting about these midnight launches. Everybody's just so excited. Everyone's really happy. And now, including myself, you just want the event over with and you just want to get home and play the game. And sure, that was part of it before. You wanted the game. You couldn't wait. But it was more of a happy excitement instead of just being anxious, wanting the event over with, and wanting to get the game and go home. Because that's what it was at Red Dead Redemption 2. And that's basically what it was at World War II as well. Red Dead Redemption 2, the launch that I went to was really unorganized, by the way. I'm not going to call out any GameStop's, but man, we didn't even know our number was up. We didn't know what the hell was going on. They finally shouted out, hey, anybody before group 12? And we're like, well, that was forever ago. What do you mean? We'd never heard any of these numbers being called. I don't know. And it didn't seem like anybody was, like I said, super excited. Everyone just looked kind of bored. And that's because it was boring. I don't blame them. There was a couple people that were dressed up for the game. The employees had like a cowboy hat or a bandana, but that was about the extent of it. Which is unfortunate, you know. I understand it, but I just wish it was the way it used to be. Yeah. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. I know it's not quite the video that people asked for, but I've kind of covered midnight launches in the past. Like I said, I still need to get Adam in one of these videos because he did work a couple midnight launches with me. And if I remember correctly, those were quite a bit of fun. I think we worked one of the Battlefield ones. That was a cool launch. And if you guys have any ideas, because I'm kind of running out when it comes to GameStop, let me know in the comments. What kind of video would you like to see about GameStop? What kind of topic have I not covered yet that you're like, Fanta, I really want to know about this, or how is this, and something like that, you know. Or if you've got any video ideas in general, I don't care. Send comments about anything. I'm going back into the throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks mode, because the way things have been on YouTube and how I'm seeing a lot of channels, not just mine, dip heavily in the number of subscribers and views coming in. And I don't know why. I think it's something to do with YouTube. It could be people are just getting sick of the series. So if you've got another idea for a series, let me know. I've heard people say they want vlogs, they want more opinion pieces. I'm definitely going to be doing more opinion pieces. So hopefully most of you like that kind of content. So as always, everyone, have a fantastic day. See you guys. Now, I know I didn't do the usual intro with showing the type of beer, but man, this is the most unexciting, uninspired beer I've ever had from a craft brew, which is Ballast Point Brewing Co. Golden Ale. It's got Made in San Diego right on there. It's basically their version of like Coors Light or Miller Light or just some sort of light beer. And I mean, I get the point. I just don't like that kind of beer at all. I didn't know what it was before I bought any of these. I only have a couple. I think this is my last one, thank God. But it's a really light beer, not that high of an alcohol content, not much flavor, just kind of bitter and yeah, I don't know. Not great. That's all I have to say. I'll probably finish it because it's here, but it's not great. I don't recommend it. No, not good at all. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, by the way. I know it was a little bit more different. I know it was a lot more reminiscing of, you know, good stuff and being kind of disappointed with how it's gone. But like I said, hope you enjoyed it. And of course, like I said, with the whole comments thing, I need your help. I need your help. Please help.